You seem unusually peppy today. Did one of your favorite sporting teams succeed in their goals?
Yeah.
But I can't speak to the final possession, please. Do you want to see the final possession or no?
Wait, is it tie game in the real world?
Yes, in the real world.
Yeah,
This is the situation.
Then let's do that.
Oh,
yeah,
we could have just been doing this whole time.
Oh my god!
Uber, do you see that clock in the background? I gotta mute that.
You might have to mute that.
Okay, I'm muting that.
Yeah.
Is that good? Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Wait,
this is how we should do it.
I can't see what's in here. I just see a jersey and
a
what
sock.
looks like sock. Is that the Elijah socks?
You got me for my birthday, like
yes, I remember
10,
that.
12,
I do
13
remember that.
years ago. Yeah.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I should pause my stream.
Yeah,
no, this is just...
We could have just screen shared the whole time.
This is ridiculous. This entire time, I could have been watching this ahead of time instead of like a whole possession behind.
Okay.
Whatever. No.
Let's see what they came up with. Let's see what that white sheet of paper he holds all day.
It's
gonna secret plays that he's just waiting. The secret offensive strategy that Tibbs is going to pull out.
So this is definitely just going to be Jalen Brunson just one isolation step back three, right?
Pretty much. Or dribble handoff on the perimeter and just like Mikal Bridges doing a chucking in the corner and he hits it. Or OG in the last game where he luckily hit that shot. Okay, ISO against a really good defender.
Surprise, surprise. Are they going to send him a screen? Okay, Bridges.
Yeah, Mikhail's coming.
Oh, no, he's not.
Oh
my.
Bam.
Oh, my God. Oh, no. Wow. Was that a cross or was that just a slip?
I think it was a...
combination?
I don't want to say. It was a slip.
That was a bit of a cross.
Kind of a...
It was also the cross. Oh, don't say it was a push-off. Whatever you do, don't say it was a push-off.
That was not a push-off.
No, that's a cross. He just...
Yeah. Okay, so the Knicks have tied the series up 3-3. Oh, no, they haven't because they were giving game 4.
Here we go.
Here we go.
There's still, 4 seconds left?
There's still 4 seconds left.
Yeah, it's an eternity.
Who's getting the ball? Who's getting the ball? Beasley? Shot for Beasley?
No, you got to give it to Cade.
Yeah, but he's gonna pass the ball to Beasley in the corner.
JB Bickerstaff special.
Amber knows his play. He already knows the call.
Come on. I have game 3 tickets.
Before Brunson was part of me.
I have game 3 tickets next round.
Nice.
Let's see. Let's hope it happens.
That's probably the only game they'll win.
Wow.
They're going to get...
Look at this guy.
I'm totally off of Brunson. Like, just his behavior in this
Here we go.
Like,
what's his behavior? He's an underdog.
Oh, fuck off.
He's little.
Fuck off. He's bigger than all of us. He's little.
Come on. Okay.
Yeah, Kane's got to take it. No. Oh, Beasley can't even.
Yes.
That was the play, though. That was a good play.
This is why Giannis got rid of Beasley.
Yes.
I'm going to end the screen share. I'm going to go to the next game, okay?
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
This is good.
Stop that. Okay, so Amber, just brag for a little while, and while I get to the next game.
Look, I can't brag about this performance by the Knicks this series. It's been rough to watch the last couple of games. I'm excited to go to the next round. I'm excited for another game. It's going to be not pretty against the Celtics. Yeah, this is fun. This is great. Get another game. No, but this is rough to watch. This Tibbs shit is like out of control. It's just he doesn't run any offense. They don't run anything. They don't run a single play.
No, I don't think it's that.
No, they don't run a single play. Like they don't run a single. And then Brunson.
What they're supposed to run is they're supposed to run pick and rolls with Brunson and.
They don't run.
They don't do that.
Okay, but Pat's not gonna do it. What do you want?
No. He's the coach. He's the manager of the team. Tell him to run some fucking plays.
You've been watching too much football.
What are you talking about?
You've been watching way too much football. Like, that's not how basketball works.
No, you can
Like,
still
you don't-
organize your players. You can still
not
get
gonna
all
listen.
play.
If
We
they're not gonna
we
listen.
literally saw a team get a new coach, no new players except Ty Jerome, and win 65 games. If you just organize players to play offense well and understand.
But during the game, there's little you can do. The players are going to do what they want to do, except you have control over the substitution pattern.
Right. I'm blaming the whole season of not trying to install some sort
And
of
also,
culture.
I'm not saying Tibbs is a great coach. I think that he's a bit
He increases the
stubborn,
floor.
right?
Sure.
But
is he helping them on offense in any which
No.
way? Like,
No, he's not.
defensively,
he's
he's a great coach, but
no. It's actually in the offensive end. If you look at it, he designed what is a very good offense. Okay, do you want me to screen share the Clippers Nuggets game, or do you just want to talk and get into the actual?
Well, we can have it in the background. We don't have to
Okay, cool.
commentate on the game like we just did,
but
right?
basically, you've kind of gone over Game 5. Game 6, we kind of watched the end of it. Just take us through the experience of Game 5, Emmer, at MSG.
Like I was not optimistic for some reason after Game 4. Obviously, they got lucked out in that game with the foul and stuff like that. I was not optimistic. I was hoping to some extent that they'd start off quickly. But the thing about this team is the way he substitutes players, the way he puts players together, yes, they're all flawed. But he does inexplicable things at inexplicable times, taking out players at inexplicable times, putting players in at inexplicable times.
Can you give an example?
Like, besides the obvious one at the end of the game where they just could have, like, he takes out, like, when he takes out Brunson, he takes out the entire starting thing. They never figured out like a second rotation of units in a set of players to actually run stuff. I didn't understand what they're doing with Cat and Mitchell Robinson in the last game. Maybe the commentators had it because it was tough to actually follow what was going on. Obviously, they're covering for maybe Cat's defensive liabilities, but Mitchell Robinson was the full Mitchell Robinson experience. Like, he has the worst hands possible. The worst. And then the free throws, and they're doing the hacking thing, and it's like, it was just really hard to watch. I just think Tibbs is fine. It's okay, but he could have gotten more out of the squad. At least I'm not even talking, like, yeah, they ran a good offense for the first part of the season, and even through it, but no adjustments. Right, none. Did they do any adjusting? It's just either isolation. It's all Jalen Brunson, like ISO ball, hero ball. And I blame Brunson for that too, a lot of it. Or it's just dribble handoffs on the end. Cat getting the ball at the perimeter because that's where we were stationed.
But isn't that a Cat? Like, I've tried to explain to you the Cat experience. Like, that's what Cat does. Like, at the beginning of the year, when they were running the Brunson Cat pick and roll, they were killing teams.
They don't run it anymore.
I didn't see a lot of pick
They
and
don't
rolls
run it
in the
anymore.
last 2 games.
They don't run it. They just don't run it. Why don't they? Like, they didn't run it at all. I saw. Like,
I thought a pretty telling stress, at least in today's game, in that first half. The Knicks were up 10, and Jalen Brunson is really hot, and they continue to ride him in that second quarter, and he just started missing all these shots, and they were terrible, and they just kept forcing
terrible shots.
They were bad shots, and then they just kept forcing that action. They didn't even try to go anywhere else.
No, I get it. Like, Brunson does, he can be stubborn in that way, but how much of that is, what else are you going to do? Like, is Cat, like, we forget, and I noticed it much more this game because I was paying attention to it, how much bigger Cat is than Durant.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's a monster, but the problem is Duran is stronger and tougher. And so it's like, at any point during this game, did you see Cat take Duran and just say, "I'm going to pin you under the basket, give me the ball"?
But does he do that ever? Does he ever do that?
But he's not going to do that. Now you're stuck in this situation where your entire offense is on the perimeter. And if your entire offense is on the perimeter, it makes sense then for Brunson to say, "Okay, now the middle is open. There's no big men there." That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's as much just Brunson being selfish or Tibbs not being organized, not being a good coach, as much as this is part of the Cat experience.
I can't do that. I think there were stretches and moments where Cat was very good in the series. I think there's stretches and moments.
Okay, but who's that on? Is that like? Can I say this? That's the Cat experience. There are times where Cat is amazing, and you're like, this should be one of the 5 best players in basketball. And then there are other times you're kind of like, this guy is a net minus on the team.
But can't both things be true?
Yes. I don't disagree with that.
Isn't it a bit of a combination? Like, I agree there was a couple games where it was like Cat needs to be more aggressive. I think that was in game 2 where he didn't shoot the ball in the fourth quarter and the third quarter, like half the third quarter there. But at the same time, I don't think Tibbs is putting him in positions to succeed. I also don't think they just don't do anything with Anunoby and Bridges are just afterthoughts in this offense.
They are.
And it makes no sense to me. It's like, what is the point? If you have the shooting, give them shots. They didn't even do that.
Just so we can get on, can I ask like 2 questions? One is related to the next. Did New York win this series or Detroit lose it? And then number 2, is there any confidence New York can challenge Boston in the next round? I will begin with Umer, and then I'll go to Amber, because Amber's answer is going to be longer and more intense.
One, I think you have to say Detroit lost it. They were the better team for more of these games. I think the things that would happen to them were down the stretch of most of these games, they just came up short. Like today was another example. Like, they were in this game, they were fighting. This is one of the rare games where the Knicks actually led for the most part of this game. So it was actually the inverse of all these other games where Detroit was the one who jumped out to early leads and the Knicks just found a way to win in the end, or didn't get calls or got some help or whatever. And then in terms of the next series, I don't think it doesn't matter which team is going to make it. They're going to lose to the Celtics. How competitive of a series this is probably going to be a little bit better than if Detroit made it. Like, I think if Detroit made it, it would have been similar to what we just saw with Orlando. But I just honestly, I can't see the Knicks beating the Celtics. They're just too good all around. Like, Jalen Brunson's going to have a hard time.
Amber, to you, the same question. Did New York win this series? Did Detroit lose it? And what is your confidence level in the Knicks against the Celtics? Not just to win, but to make it a competitive series extended.
I'll say Detroit lost it. I could say that, especially with that game 4 and the referees game. Yeah, I'll admit that. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any confidence in the Boston series. I'm hoping they win one or 2 games, hopefully, in a nice sort of competitive series. Knicks have shown no sort of, inclination to be within 20 points of good teams. Like, it's been really bad, like, against a good team. So I don't see that happening. And the reason is because, like, and it was as indicative in this series, they would be up 10. A good team would stretch it to 15, 18, 20. Cavs going up to 55 points in the one game. Like, the
Cavs are playing Miami.
No, what I'm saying is, like, in every sort of scenario where I think the Knicks were up like 10 or 11, they didn't have that sort of drive or sort of mental sort of way to actually extend it. And yeah, you can blame the players. I'll blame the players. Tibbs couldn't figure out, like, just in this past game, they were up 11 at the beginning of the fourth quarter, Brunson's on the bench. Why don't you just keep him in the game and maybe you can extend it to 14 or 15 versus like when he came back in, they were up only 7.
Well, I
And
think
it's
he's trying to do what we've been criticizing
Yeah,
for. It's
JJ.
like, give,
I was going to say this is the opposite of what JJ
give
Redick just
Brunson
did.
a rest.
Give
'cause
him
he
a
has-
But wait. This is the playoffs, right? You could have rested him in game 40 of the regular season.
Okay,
Like-
no, but that's beside the point. We can't talk about game 4. We have to
No,
talk
but
about
I'm talking about situations that goes back to how the Boston series. Why would they have any chance to actually like some sort of temperament to actually win a game when you have these situations where you can't like put the throat on somebody and actually just like close it out? You know, they were up 15 in this game, and they came back twice from double-digit leads that Detroit did.
I mean, keep in mind this is an elimination game for the Pistons. Like they're not going to just roll over.
I know, but listen, if the Knicks were a really good team, right? If they're a really good team where they can figure out situations well, they can figure out how to like go through stuff.
Are the Knicks a 45-win team in the Western Conference? Like, are they basically a play-in team? Do we think they're on the level of?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt on that. I mean,
So what do we think the Boston series? How many games? How many games does the Boston series go?
what's the point of doing that?
Well, no, but that's the question I'm asking. How many games does the Boston series go? Like, what is
5.
the matchup?
5.
Okay.
5.
So this
Yeah.
is Boston wins 2,
Yeah.
New York wins 1 at home, Boston wins it in game 5.
I also have it Boston in 5.
Like, I don't think anybody's like thinking that the Western Conference would be like up there. I mean, like, look, they're a fun team. They won 50 games in the East. They're the 3rd best team. No, maybe not after the series, but
We always do the post-mortem on the team that's been eliminated. Umer, what does Detroit have to do before we move on to the next series, which is the game we're watching right now?
I think going forward, this is probably a success of a season for them. Like, this is hands down, they're ahead of schedule. I don't think any of us thought they were going to be this good. And then to be as competitive as they were, even though they haven't gone any further than Orlando, like, I'd be happier to be a Detroit Pistons fan than an Orlando Magic fan.
Is that because of Cade?
Just because of my outlook. It's like, I clearly have a guy who can be a top 10 to 5, maybe 5 player
There's
in the coming
quality
years.
to him that.
Oh yeah,
I-
he just controls the
yeah.
game. Like, he controls the game.
But he's not as slow as Luka. Like, he still is
No,
going to give
I
the
mean,
ball up more, move without the ball.
I
yeah.
also don't think he's as good a
Of course,
passer.
no.
But at
Well,
the
no,
same,
Luka is on a like.
no. But I just think.
What is that stupid internet thing they do? Like Sigma tier. Like Luka's Sigma.
Oh yeah, sure. But
that shit
the
is,
only thing
yeah.
is for the Pistons, what they need, I think experience. It wouldn't hurt if they had another veteran on their team that can maybe make some shots, someone to alleviate some of the ball handling duties from Cade. But I like where they're at. I think that as long as you bring back this core and you develop it and you kind of give more supporting role players for Cade, like, for the Pistons, this is great. This is a great
Amber, it
season.
has been 32 years, 33 years since you Pupas Herapa moved from Detroit, I believe, right? What is your feelings just about what the Pistons need to do to take the... Because I know with the Lions, you're always really happy with what they've done. In terms of the Pistons, what is the next move they need to make to move forward?
yeah. So I think it's obviously a successful season compared to the one before, and obviously the Cade leap is great, and you have Usser and Duran. After watching a lot of them, do we really? They need to upgrade the rest of that. I don't trust the rest of that, and the track record of all that is not very good. So, not resting on your laurels a little bit and just like understanding who your team is and who your strengths are at the core. I thought you were mentioning trades that they should do. Like, they should take a big swing and try to get somebody really good. Like, if they can.
Yeah, like I would say
I don't know if they can.
everyone is available except Cade. You try to keep Osser and Duran, but if you have, like, for example, we'll talk about this later in the show, there's going to be a megastar available. But yeah, my general sense is I thought Detroit played really, really well in this series. I think considering Big Stu is injured, what happened in Game 4, they can be happy. K, to me, is going to be on par with Ant as just the best American player in the world. Him, Ant, Tatum, like those three are going to have that battle. But yeah, so let's. And again, I think the Celtics win that in 5. I just think it's going to be a rough series for the Knicks. I just don't think they can defend the Celtics on the perimeter, and I think the lack of rim protection, and if New York goes to a double big, then it's just over. The next we'll move to is the game we're watching now. Do you want me to screen share this game while we talk about the Clippers-Nuggets series? All right, cool. We will screen share this. So
let's see how much further ahead you are. Because I have it 28, 25, 31 seconds left.
We have 28, 25, 6.4
Jesus Christ,
seconds
you're
left.
like almost 30 seconds ahead of me.
Yeah. So let's start with, I think the last time we spoke, Umar, was when it was 2-2, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, we spoke after the Gordon.
Yeah.
What do we take from Murray's performance in Game 5, if anything?
I mean, that was the first time he's played like that in the playoffs in like since the championship run. I would say that was actually the worst game from Jokic in this entire series, and it was the game that they absolutely dominated from start to finish. I mean, if you're going to get that kind of support from all the role players or all the other guys not Jokic, yeah, the Nuggets are...
Murray, can I just say Murray tonight is 5 for 8, has 12 points, 2 assists in the first quarter.
He's playing well. I haven't been watching it enough to really be saying what's going on here today.
And Joker had probably according to Game Score, one of his worst games of the last 5 years. And typically, and still it was like a 17 game score, and typically after Joker has less than 20, he gets like 30 plus the next game. But if Murray, like he's not going to score 40, and I also asked this to Amber, but if Murray's someone who can consistently go out there and get 25 points, 7, 8 assists, does that make Denver a legit contender? Amber Alam, are you still with us?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
He's watching that chicken commercial.
This year? This year?
Like if he can just go out there, and he's not going to do 43, but like right now he has 12 points at the end of the first quarter. And what I notice is when Murray does well, the key thing that does is it allows Joker to spend more energy on defense and then save himself for later in the game. So I'm wondering if Murray can just be like a 23, 24 points per game, 5, 6 assists, consistent, not turning the ball over. Does that make Denver a legit contender?
This year?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm still skeptical about the rest of the...
Well, no, in 2-3 years.
Yeah, I mean, if he did that every game and we're having the same conversation we had, our first 10 podcasts, we're talking about like how Jamal Murray wasn't very good. But, yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, that would obviously solve a lot of a ton of their problems, right? I mean, they still have the back half of the roster that you can fix, but I don't think this year, right? I just don't see that happening, but...
And from Game 5, outside of Murray's performance, Umar, is there anything that you took away from that?
To be honest, it was just the game where the Nuggets as a team outside of Joker showed up. Like it seemed like before that.
Well, he still got a triple-double.
He did, but I mean, like him getting a triple-double is like not. I don't care anymore. Like it doesn't matter. Like that's like when Russell Westbrook was averaging a triple-double.
No,
like,
I don't think
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, I think
why?
No.
They're just numbers. Like you're the one who used to discount triple-doubles and double-doubles all the time, and now why does it matter now?
Okay, no.
Why does it matter now? It doesn't matter.
No.
Did he play well? I don't think he played well. That doesn't matter.
Do you think that he does it in a different way than Russ did?
Yes, yeah, sure. I'm not saying that, but I can honestly say he didn't play well, even though he had a triple-double. Like he didn't. He did not have a good game, especially compared to the kinds of games he's had earlier in this series.
With a legendary, whatever. We just you don't like white players. That's fine.
That's not true. I love Luka Doncic,
and we'll go.
I just don't like fat guys.
But Is the James Harden effect showing up though? Like no, like is he even like does he realize that he's in the playoffs in a intense series?
I think the pressure and the physicality is something that James Harden doesn't deal with well. He's a flow player, and the fact that when the Nuggets, I guess, have decided to actually play a little bit of defense, I don't know if that's impacting it. Like in the first 2 or 3 games, I think we were all in agreement that when James Harden was probably the most consistent player, other than maybe Zubac, for the Clippers, like he was carrying the offense for large stretches of these games.
He's still doing it, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't know if it's the playoff James is coming on, or he's just been getting caught up in the physicality of the game, and he's just not responding well. But I do think tonight, I mean, we're not even halfway through the second quarter here. I do like the Clippers. I think that Kawhi, I mean, he's got to show up. Like, now is the time to show up, right?
Well, I thought Kawhi played actually he played a really controlled Game 5.
Yeah, but they don't need
triple
that.
double. Yeah, they need him. But the problem is, like, that's not Kawhi because Harden, even Kawhi at his peak, still needed. You had to have a point guard who kind of set everything up.
That's
right. Amber, what are you thinking is going to happen in this series? We're at 28-27, 11 minutes left in the second quarter. Do you want to change your prediction, or do you still think it's going to be the Clippers winning and now the Clippers in 7?
I'll keep the Clippers. I'm hopeful that they come through. I didn't watch the last game, so I'm not sure what exactly happened. But the game on Saturday was a brutal way to lose. But I'm optimistic they can come back. I think at home, hopefully they can pull this out and keep on going.
Umar, your thoughts?
I mean, I picked the Clippers. I still like the Clippers. I think they have more depth. The reality it comes down to is, can they stop Joker? And I mean, if Murray's gonna give the support that he did in Game 5, it's gonna be really hard for them, because I don't know what you do at that point if you're doubling down on Joker and he's got another guy who's gonna help carry the offense. The thing that I want to see is, will they start going back to zone? Because that, like what we talked about that day, the last time we were on,
the bogey on the
bogey zone really changed the complexion of that game in that fourth quarter. I don't think you can run that for the entire game, but I'd be interested to see if they're going to implement it more, because they didn't do it at all in Game 5. Also, the game was never really close. So I guess
DeAndre Jordan's on the court again, by the way.
Hey, you got to buy Joker some minutes here. You can't play him 45, I guess, right? You gotta conserve a little bit.
Well, I guess my biggest concern, and I can't believe I didn't remember this when I picked the Clippers in 7, is James Harden. So I think I think the Clippers will win this game. I think in our group chat, the other group chat we have, I messaged that the Clippers shoot the lights out, and then hopefully maybe Adelman says, let me give Joker some rest, but it seems like that's not going to happen. But yeah, Game 7 in Denver, it would be an interesting thing. I just think I'm just never going to choose James Harden, I guess, in a big game, and that's what I forgot. What I will say is I think the Nuggets playing Zeus straight up with Joker has helped a lot. Because now it's kind of, you're not depending on the back line communication as much. They're still making mistakes, but I think that's helped quite a bit. And then I'm just wondering from the Clippers, like, Simmons is unplayable. If Batum's not hitting threes, then he's not giving you, like, their bench shortens a lot as well, is what I'd say. But so I think I'm going to go with the Nuggets. You two are still taking the Clippers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. My God, now let's go to Golden State, Houston.
Are you proud? You got to be a little bit proud.
Dave, so unhappy. You're so unhappy your team won.
I mean, you got the Elijah socks in the background. You're celebrating, got the red rims.
No, I will say this.
James Harden.
I'm really, really happy how Schengen's comported himself. I thought game 4 he played really well. Even missing that shot, again, I think packing the paint doesn't help him because then it means Draymond can play on him, and Draymond just did a really good contest. But I like the fact that Schengen just demanded the ball. I'm sure Ime called it for him, but he said, I'm taking it. Didn't like the shot. Typically, that little one-hander is a bit closer. It's a bit cleaner, what have you. But I like that he just kept going at it. I think he took 28 shots, but I was happy with that. And I was happy that Ime sat Jalen Green. And then I was really happy with the performance in Game 5. I think a lot of that was Amber, it's your favorite player, Jason Tatum. I think a lot of that was... just... What was I talking about? Oh, Jalen Green, yes. Sitting him down was good. Game 5, I think the Warriors, like Kerr at a certain point, just like, fuck it. I also thought the Rockets actually got a friendly whistle. They were going to the line nonstop. Right? But again, if you're going to attack. I will say this. At the end of the game, the headbutt was ridiculous. That, what's his name? Spencer, is it? Or whatever that little shit on the Warriors did, where he headbutts him. Like, is really headbutting is part of basketball now? And then Draymond gives him a hug as he's going off. Right? It's like, this is what you...
He's a warrior. That's what.
Yeah,
he's a warrior.
like whatever. But I was happy with Schengen's 15-9-9. I was happy with Eamon just causing havoc in the first half. Very similar to a young Kawhi, just not even letting them get into their offense. And I was happy with Van Vliet's shooting, which I told you where the math will always work out that they'll have. But that's what I fear what happens in Game 6. But for you two, let's see what do you think about what's happening in Golden State, Houston?
Aren't you a little bit concerned that pretty much after 5 minutes, the Warriors decided we're not even going to try? We
knew that was going to happen. We predicted that.
I guess, but I mean, it's almost as if they have enough confidence to just, like, when do teams throw away playoff games in the first half?
When you're as old as the Warriors.
In the first half? It wasn't even that bad. It wasn't even that bad of a game. And then
old they are and how much the Rockets are beating them up, and Jimmy's injured, and then Kerr always has to worry, will Draymond be suspended for life from the NBA in any given moment?
Come on. After Game 4, he's not getting suspended at all anywhere at any time. Oh, sorry, Game 5. That was, or no, was it Game 4 or Game 5?
It was Game 4. It was Game 3 and Game 4 where he was just
Game 4.
He's committing 30 fouls.
No, Game 4, by the second quarter, he should have been tossed twice.
Yeah, this is what the NBA has created. I would like to say, well, Amber, do you want to jump in on this conversation?
No, I didn't watch the game that much, so I haven't seen that series as much.
I will say this. Two guys who I respect a lot, Zach Lowe, Bill Simmons, were talking about Draymond and Rudy on defense, and like post Kawhi, who's the best defender. And I think Zach Lowe said something along the lines of, Rudy for 82, Draymond for 16 games is clearly a superior defender.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Well, my position on this would be, if you took Rudy and put them on those Golden State teams, they still win the title.
I disagree with that.
And
Wow.
And not only do they win the title, they actually win it easier because they have better rim defense, better rebounding, and they have offensive rebounding.
No, they don't have
the Utah Jazz don't do as well, right? That's all I'm going to say. We'll get into this argument later. I just wanted to put that out. What do you expect to happen in Game 6, though, Umar? Golden State, Houston. Do you expect Golden State to wrap it up?
I fully expect Golden State to close them out. I think Steph
Is it a close game, or is it a...
I think it's a blowout. I think it's going to be a dominant Golden State win. I just see Curry putting in a bunch of threes. It's going to be similar to what was a Game 2 where he was just on fire. It's going to be one of those kinds of games, I think, from Steph Curry. Like the last thing the Warriors want is for this to go 7, especially if this series right now goes 7, like the Clippers and the Nuggets. The Warriors absolutely want to wrap this up, get an extra day, even though it's not many days, but getting an extra day off. I mean, they're a team that could use it more than anyone, right?
Amber, for you, what do you think will happen in Game 6? Do you think that Houston can extend it to 7? You and I both picked the Rockets to win. So
Yeah, I just think the Warriors are going to close it out. I think it'll be a closer game, and then they'll put up their little 12-0 run with Curry hitting ridiculous threes, and then just pull it out in like the late third, early fourth, and just close the book on this. I just think like it's not Houston's time. I was optimistic, but you're seeing some of the warts come through and the Jalen Green stuff and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm hopeful.
Can I go on a Jalen Green rant, please?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
No.
You haven't had one of those before.
I'm fucking tired of this shit of seeing Jalen Green's face alongside Steph Curry's face on Max as like no. And then whenever they talk about Jalen Green, Candace, like she said he was she said he was a superstar. Jalen Green is a super shit, and that's it. Okay, there's no superstar there. And then
a national commercial.
They keep. Oh, we already talked about this. Where
we did talk about Wingstop.
We're pretty sure that his agent went and said whatever the Screen Actors Guild of America minimum is, Jalen Green will take it and be in your commercial. And they were like, fair enough. Here you go. The guy is not their superstar.
Yeah, but he's flashy. And he does exciting highlight plays. Like, you're not going to put... I'm sorry.
So once every 4 games, right?
But Alperen Şengün is not exactly the poster boy for, hey, come out and watch Steph Curry and Albie.
During the game, though, I do expect... And this is the point I make. These people don't watch any of these teams play, so they don't know. What they do is they simply look and they say, oh, Jalen Green leads the team in score. And what they don't notice, it's like 1.5 points, a lot more field goal attempts, and Alpie gets more assists, right? Like, I think if you look at it, Alpie is leading the team in, like, points, rebounds, assists, steals. Like,
he's definitely their best player. But, I mean, in terms of marketing, like, you're talking about a promotion. It's a marketability thing.
During the game...
Jalen Green's a more popular player. He's a more marketable player.
During the game, though, you should actually be talking about the game and how the players are. Like how the team actually plays.
You're asking
right?
for play-by-play announcers to give critical analysis. They're not there for that.
Isn't that their whole point?
No, they're there. They're part of the entertainment.
Okay.
They are not actually breaking this down. They're not Zach Lowe.
I think Houston wins Game 6 and then wins Game 7 at home. Okay.
Really? Okay. Hey, you know what? You have to do that.
And here's the bigger question: does it matter? Is either of these teams going to beat Minnesota? And then we'll get into... Or do we want to start with We Told You So? Not for you, Umar, but for everyone. We told you so.
You can tell me so. You can absolutely.
No, but
I deserve it.
Like 3 weeks ago, we talked about the fact we put all the numbers out. The Lakers are they're a 45-win team. And they somehow lost a game at home when the opponent went like 7 of 45 from 3.
That was an ugly. That was yesterday's game. That was one of the worst second halves I've ever watched. Like just in general, it was terrible to watch.
Amber, your thoughts on Minnesota, LA?
Yeah, I mean, I still go back to that game 1, like that stretch in the game 1, the second quarter, and just that blitzing they did. And obviously, it didn't, obviously normalize over the rest of the series, but. Ant was terrifying. He was so good in that one game on the weekend. After they did the whole 24 minutes for all the starters, you're kind of just like,
But that was a mistake. That was a huge mistake.
It was a gimmick.
Was that a mistake, though, or was that...
Yes. You have no choice. You have a choice. You have the oldest player in the NBA. You give him 3... We're not talking about 6 minutes. If you can't play 3 minutes without him, you're not going to get... Like, he had nothing in the tank at the end of that game. And that was probably the best defense he's played in the entire series.
I gotta say one thing about that, though, especially on this pod. I think we've generally, or some of us have, been generally consistent that the Lakers, right after that trade and all the question marks we had, were going to show up in the playoffs. Like, I thought they would. But the last 2 months, everybody's just been talking about, oh, the two players will just figure it out.
No.
And it's like,
And we
how
said
is
from
that
the start
possible?
they won't.
Yeah, exactly. I've been pretty consistent that I don't think it would work out. And then the two players are one 40-year-old and one fatty guy who's slow and doesn't play defense. I mean, he looks out of shape. I mean, what are you going to do?
No, it's also because they're ball dominant. Your third guy just becomes a core. Like, you can't even use him because these two both, you have to give them the ball. They have to stop everything so they can look at the, like, it just doesn't make sense, this team. The other issue I would say is, again, we saw it in the regular season. We saw it in the playoffs. LeBron is a minus player on the court. The Lakers do better. If you look at the on-offs, it's when Luka and Finney, they're the two when they're on the court. And I think it's the Luka-Finney-Reeves combo. That's when the Lakers really, I think they're like plus 10 or something. Like, that's like LeBron, like his PER, I think was like 25 in this series, which is like kind of a weak MVP year. But there's something about him when he's on the court. They're just not a very good team. And I don't know, Umar, how you want to address that, but they just aren't.
It's hard to argue against it because that's what the numbers bear out. But it's hard for me to honestly say that the Lakers are better without LeBron James. Like,
when they have Luka, I'm saying.
They had, I mean, think about this series. That second half of game 4, that third quarter, they were dominating them. That's with LeBron James on the floor. They dominated in that quarter.
Yeah,
they should have won the game off that quarter. But
that's also the Wolves missing wide open threes.
I mean, if you don't think that Lakers had anything to do with that, okay. I mean, I'm telling you right now, they absolutely did. Like, their defense was part of the reason why they were winning that game.
They were totally choreographing the trap, and then
But their rotations were good, and yes, you're right that the Wolves weren't hitting threes, but I mean the Wolves didn't hit threes in Game 5 either. I mean they were even worse in Game 5, and they were controlling.
Well, that's what we're saying. But I guess the question is this: can Luka, like for example, and this would never happen, right? But isn't it better? If you have Luka, you can make Reeves work because we know you can make Luka and Kyrie work. And I'm saying that, and you need to have Finney. That I think they would have been better off, and it'll never happen, but you bring LeBron off the bench as a sixth man.
Oh, come on. Come on.
No, but I'm saying for the team, that would have been better. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
just because I think that combination of those three guys,
which is fine. But if that's the case, then why not space their minutes out like that in the second half of these games? Like in that
but I
game
do think
4,
he's trying. Well, look, they literally have no one. Well, no, but the problem is that whenever
Gabe Vincent for 3 minutes, you couldn't have done that.
But I also do think I also think that we should understand that Redick is a analytics guy.
Sure, and
so I think he.
But he's also played in the NBA. Like he should know that players get tired. Like
but he also
40-year-old gets tired.
No, but he also know. Yeah, okay, LeBron's minutes are LeBron's choice.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm sorry, I refuse to believe that any coach, especially Redick, who owes his entire job to the Lakers because LeBron kind of said, I drink wine with this guy and we pretend that we're, talking high culture and shit. Redick also knows that the Lakers are worse with you know what I mean? Like, he's kind of like, he knows the numbers that we're better with Luka and Finney, so I have to figure out how to make that. Like, I think he overthought that. I think that got into his head when he should have just I don't think there's anything they could have done to win this series, but
I'm just saying won more games. I think there's no reason this didn't go 6. Like, this should have gone 6. Game 3 and Game 4.
I don't know about that. To be honest, I don't know about that.
The Wolves
Game 5, sure, but Game 3 and 4, I thought were absolutely winnable games for them.
I just I kind of wish that LeBron was not on the team next year.
Yeah,
and I kind of could just
Is it next year going to be the retirement tour?
I Yeah, I guess so. But
Hold on.
what are they going to
We
do? What
already
can,
haven't done the fucking retirement tour.
No,
no,
what
but
do you
what
mean?
are they? What are they going to do? Like, what are they going to do? They have no moves, right? Do they have any moves?
They
I
have
don't think they
one.
do.
The
They have one
mid-level.
move.
The
No,
mid-level.
the move is
Reeves?
you trade Reeves for a.
No, that's a big move. But can they not afford a mid? But can't they afford a mid-level exception guy?
No, the problem is that they need because Finney is also, I think, a free agent, so they need to get an eraser.
I thought that when they nixed that trade,
That was a mistake.
that was I don't know what that guy actually posted something afterwards.
Yeah, he
was
just posted a
talking shit back to
funeral
the
laughing
Lakers about
pig.
losing.
No, but he's also do you really think Mark Williams was the solution to their problems?
Well, he would have been better than Jackson
No,
Hayes.
but
Would
No, but
Rudy,
I
would
think
Rudy
he would-
Gobert
Who are you gonna
have
get, though?
24 points
Who are you-
in that game? Probably not.
who are you going to get though? Who are you going to get though? You're not going
Yeah,
to
that's
get
not-
some stud.
No. So now you have, I think, you have 2 first-round picks, and no, you have to trade Reeves, and you have to turn Reeves into a 3-and-D point guard, not someone of his ability and
Point guard.
Yeah. Well,
Why
someone
would, no. Well, why do you want a point guard? You have Luka Doncic.
No, because you need someone small to cover the other team's point guard. Luka can't do that.
I
Like,
think
you're
you
gonna
need more
need-
interior
Yeah, so-
defense
Like,
than that.
basically,
Don't you need
no,
a center?
No. What I'm saying is you need to turn Reeves into 2 players.
Oh.
Right? So you
Yeah.
turn Reeves into like a Chris Dunn and a Derek Lively type.
Oh, that's
Yes.
not good enough. I'm sorry.
Right? Oh no, I think for the Lakers, if but you need an eraser, and I just don't think the eraser. Like, for example, would Utah be willing to give up Kessler for Reeves?
Yes.
Right. The problem is Reeves.
Austin
not the
Reeves
best,
is the Utah Jazz's dream kind of
right.
player.
And then what you do is let's say you work out the salaries where you get back Kessler and Sexton. Can you live with that if you're the Lakers?
I take
Yeah,
that.
but then I don't think
Yeah.
the Lakers want Colin Sexton. Then you have,
Well, no, but you're going to have to give something up because you're getting back Kessler.
no,
legit.
getting up Reeves is fine. It's the Colin Sexton of it all. Like, do you really want? That's like having D'Angelo
But-
Russell.
You're getting back a cheaper, younger player,
Sure.
Kessler. So that means that you're going to have to accept something back, and then you're going to get rid of someone else. You get rid of one of Rui or Vanderbilt, who are basically
I
redundant.
don't think you can get
right?
rid of Rui. I think you need Rui spacing, shooting, and versatility.
Oh my God,
You
Rui-
need it. They
Everyone
need
always-
it.
Rui.
He can shoot the ball. Like, you're making it seem like he's not a good shooter. He is a good
Rui
shooter.
does. Rui, if Rui, Amerigo.
I don't even know, but
He did carry them last night, which is a sad state for the Lakers.
He's a good shooter. No one is saying he's an all-star.
Is Golden State or Houston going to beat Minnesota?
I think Golden State has a chance. I think Houston has absolutely no chance.
I agree. I think Minnesota is showing us that they're like a 55-60 win team. And I think a Minnesota Golden State series, Randall against Draymond. Draymond's not going to, Draymond will try to pick on Rudy, right?
He's going to drop kick him and not get ejected.
Do you think Nas and Randall are going to give a shit about Draymond and Jimmy or Ant? I just think that's going to be, yeah. Amber, your opinions on that?
Or not?
Or not? Okay. Amber Alam, are you still with us, or has he dropped out? Maybe he's dropped out.
Oh.
Um,
Yeah, it looks like he's...
yeah, he might have.
Yep.
Yeah, he's dropped out, so he'll
See you
come back
later.
in. But yeah, no. My issue is if Golden State can't handle Houston, what the fuck are they going to do versus Minnesota?
The thing is, though, is Minnesota as physical a team as the Houston Rockets? Like, the Houston Rockets are borderline beating the shit out of the Warriors. I know
Conley won't do that. Yeah.
No,
But,
and even the bigs that they have, like Minnesota's bigs aren't as physical as those Houston Rockets bigs.
Nas and
Nas,
Randall
maybe.
Randall,
Defensively, I just don't see them mugging anybody.
Randall, more than any other player in the first round, has turned opinions of people like me, and just in general has probably elevated himself. Where okay, this guy actually can do it. He does get it. he can defend and be something on offense.
But do they have anybody like Thompson or Brooks or Tari?
Yeah, you have McDaniels.
I don't think McDaniels is as physical as those three guys.
Okay.
Like those three guys, like yes, he is a physical defender, but those three, like the combination of those three, it's a lot for the Warriors to handle. And it's more so, I mean it more so for guarding Steph Curry.
Minnesota's actually bigger than Houston.
No, I know they're bigger, but that's my point.
So if you want to play volleyball, and also,
but it's more on the defensive end, though. I don't think.
But also, it's now Golden State actually has to deal with a guy.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the bigger issue.
Yes, for sure.
Right, because basically what you have to do now is, do you put Moody on Ant and then Draymond on Randall? Or do you put, what are you going to do?
I think you start with Moody on Ant, and then as the game goes, like maybe in crunch times, like more important possessions, you may throw Jimmy on him, but I don't think you want to wear Jimmy out like over the course of a whole game to guard Ant. Like that's a big ask.
Amber, you're back with us?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay, cool. We were just actually talking about a potential Golden State mini-series, but I figured let's just move on because this is getting close to halftime. It seems like a close game. 56-55 with 40.9 left. The Clippers over the Nuggets. Indiana, Cleveland. Do we want to do a quick preview? Umer, you do a quick, more analytical preview of the actual teams. Amber will do a homer preview of what it feels like, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so this series, it should be a pretty straightforward, easy series for the Cavs. The thing is, the Pacers have a couple things that one could present a few problems for the Cavs. The fact that they play with such pace, like they're one of the fastest teams. Like they just did it to Milwaukee by just pushing the shit out of the ball on every possession. It's going to put a lot of strain on that Cavs defense. Will they be able to keep up? Are they going to slow them down? The other thing that one I think is going to be interesting to watch is how do the Cavs guard Tyrese Halliburton? Like, are they going to use, like, because there's going to be a lot of pick and roll. So is it going to be Mobley on that switch, or is it going to be Jared Allen? Because I think if it's Jared Allen, the Cavs are going to be having some problems. Whereas if it's Mobley, I think it's more manageable. But the other side of that is like on that pick and roll, how the Cavs guards defend Pascal Siakam may be the real determining outcome of this series. Because I think the only way the Pacers are going to win, obviously they need Halliburton to be an all-star, to be a star. And I do think that when Pascal Siakam has to take advantage, because the Cavs are going to have to switch. He's got to take advantage of that. That being said, I think the Cavs are deep enough and they just have so much size. They should win in 6. But I think it's going to be a lot more competitive a series than people are probably giving credit for. Okay,
and then Amber, how is your confidence level after the Cavs, the dismantling of the Heat? Like, where's your confidence level at? And are you any concerns with Garland's lingering injury?
Yeah, I'm glad. I think before the series, I was talking about what I wanted to get out of the series. I think I got most of it in terms of just betting the series and getting people, into it. I think the Garland thing. I mean, when Garland was out, they won by an average of 45 points, so it wasn't too bad. I'm actually, which might say something. I think this is going to be a much tougher series than, I think, to your point, where I think it's going to be a 6-game series. I think all the games are going to be very competitive, just because of the pace and the fact that, Indiana can score a lot of points. I do think at the end of the day, the defense of the Cavs holds up, through those 6 games. There was a couple. They played one game at the end of the season where the Cavs just unloaded their entire bench. They got guys off the G League. It was a very entertaining game, but the Cavs, the Pacers weren't beating the G League Cavs. It was very, very close and competitive, and it was sort of like that gives me a little bit of confidence because it's like, okay, nobody was playing, not a single person. Like it went into overtime, I think, or something like that. So, and I think the Pacers were trying to win that game. So, yeah, I think it's going to be very competitive. I think it's going to be a very fun series, actually. I think it's going to be a good, solid series. But I just think their defense holds up. Mobley and Allen and just having those extra guys. Plus, like, the bench, the Cavs bench is just it's really nice to watch.
What was your big takeaway that you were happy with, that you were kind of, maybe you had concerns going in just for this first round? Because I remember you did have some concerns.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that didn't get alleviated was like Okoro. He looked horrible. Like he hit the side of the backboard a couple of times I saw. So I don't think that's been solved. And he's gonna, like, I think we talked about this. Like he's gonna have to be he's gonna have to play some key roles and key minutes. But like seeing like Ty Jerome and when they went big with D Wade.
D
Wade. The real D Wade. I thought that was really impressive. I thought they all played really well and were really solid. Ty Jerome is just, I mean, we're not going to be able to keep him, unfortunately, but because he's going to make a ton of money. But he's like money off the bench. Like, I don't know. He's like guaranteed 15 to 18 points. And it's like clutch buckets when they really need it. Like when they need to extend the lead or whatever. So I think those are the two things I'd take away. But I'm a little worried about Okoro and how that'll hold up. But otherwise, I'm looking forward to the series. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I think Umar made the point that if they pick, like if it's high paced game that favors the Pacers, I actually think the Cavs have no problem between kind of Mitchell, Garland, Mobley, and all those guys coming who they can throw there. I don't think it's actually going to be very close because I mainly think it's an Allen Mobley issue, and then I just don't know how the Pacers are going to score at the rim. I don't know how they're going to get offensive rebounds. I also have some questions about how they're going to defend the rim and keep the Cavs from getting offensive rebounds. Playing Milwaukee, you just had to worry about Giannis, and you overloaded on him, and he's like, obviously no one on the Cavs is Giannis, but then it was just let everyone else do what they want. And I just don't think with the Cavs now, suddenly it's okay, Halliburton, you actually have to defend, and Mathurin, everyone has to defend, and that causes me some concerns. I guess the question I would ask you, Umar, how does Indiana win this series?
First, I want to say I agree with you that the Cavs are probably going to handle this, and when the size and defense are probably going to be too much to overcome. But for the Pacers to win, I think the 3-point shooting from not just Halliburton, but also a lot of like the secondary, like Nembhard, Mathurin, like those guys, if they're making shots like what they were just doing in that series against the Bucks, that's what could present the problem. Like if you're going to force Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland or even Ty Jerome, whoever's at that guard position to really defend, like that's kind of what Indiana is going to have to do. Is they're not going to stop anybody. Like I'm not going to say the way they're going to win is by forcing Donovan Mitchell into double teams.
Can Siakam outplay Mobley?
See, that's the thing. Offensively, he maybe. Like they need him to. Like that's the only way they're gonna win. Like they need him to be kind of what he was before he was a Pacer. Like they need him to be the Toronto Raptor Pascal Siakam, which personally I'm not a huge believer or fan in, but if he shows up and when he puts it on him, it could be a series. I just realistically I don't see it happening. But the Pacers showed even last year, like they're a lot better than we give them credit for. Like they are a professional basketball team. Like they're not dumb. They don't yes, they have shortcomings, but they don't make a lot of dumb plays.
The only thing I would say 3-point variance, but can you see the Pacers out 3-point variance the Cavs
For
and then
4
do it
games?
For 4 games, and do it for 4 games. I just can't see that. The Cavs are just the Cavs get a lot of open looks and they have good shooters. Like the way they play, they get a lot of good shots, and their shooters are very, very good. So you're not going to out 3-point shoot them.
What's
with
your Amber? What is your biggest concern heading into the series?
I don't have a lot of. I don't think there's a big concern. I guess the confidence I have is like the first 2 games at home. Like, you know, they Miami kept in it, and they came back in that second game or whatever, and then made it a close game or whatever. I was very impressed by just the annihilation in those 2 games. I know it's Miami, but you could have easily just dropped a game and made this little series. But there is a professionalism that you kind of see them just like, you know, building into the playoffs. And so I don't have a lot of concerns. I just think it's a much tougher matchup than the first one. And so.
Okay, so what is your pick for the series, Amber? And what is the one thing you think we'll take away from the series?
I think it's going to go 6 games.
Indiana to win or Cleveland to win?
Cleveland to win.
Okay.
Takeaway by being like, oh, if they meet the Celtics, like what to take away?
No, the takeaway from this series, like what are we, you think that something will happen that you're going to be like, okay, that's my takeaway, that the overarching, if you may, story of the series, why you think they're going to win in 6 games and what we'll take away from it.
I think, like I said, the defense holding up, and I think you alluded to this, Mobley and Allen just, you know, exerting themselves and like pushing through. And then I would like it was nice to see that the Mitchell game in the last game and him just continuing that sort of being the guy that like, you know, keeps them focused and keep them and like being the alpha and just ascending, because we're going to need him in the next round if we make it to the final Eastern Conference Finals and stuff like that. So just those 2 things. I don't know about what's the status on Garland's toe. Like, is it?
I haven't seen anything yet.
I'm not.
Umer, what is your pick for the series, and what are we going to take away from the series?
I have Cavs in 6. I think really for the Cavs, it's just more can we see that they can build on this playoffs? I mean, it's hard to really take too much away from that first round, considering they destroyed the Miami Heat, who didn't even really look like they wanted to be there after Game 3. So I think really the big takeaway is, can they build on this? Will they show us anything as to how they're going to deal with the inevitable matchup with the Celtics?
Yeah, so I think I'm looking at I think the big thing is the Pacers are going to try to make this a track meet. And I think what's going to happen is the Cavs will beat them both in a track meet, like maybe game 1 or for stretches. And then they'll also beat them in the half-court war, where like what'll happen is you'll have one of those stretches that, let's say it's a close game, and the start of the fourth quarter, the Cavs just go on like a 17-6 run, where they're just stopping them. And I just think they're vastly superior on both ends. And so I think it's more of a 5-game series. I think it's one where the Cavs either get up 3-0, lose game 4, win game 5 at home, or it's 2, they lose 3. But I just don't think, again, I'm big on the Cavs. I just think that this is a well-oiled machine. I think the way they dismantled the Heat was quite impressive. And I don't believe that the Pacers have the horses to keep up with them. Like all these mid-range shots, I think the Cavs are just going to crush them. Because they'll say, okay, go ahead. Like, you're not going to get shots at the rim. I don't know how the Pacers are going to get a shot at the rim. And I think the Cavs just take away the 3 and say, yeah, go ahead, take all the 2s you want. We're just going to take 3s and dunks. But, again, so Amber is taking Cavs in 6. Umer, I think you're taking Cavs in 6 as well. And then I'm taking Cavs in 5. Let's talk about the series that just ended, and this will kind of be our end. Indiana beat Milwaukee. Umar Ali, why are non-team and NBA employees allowed on the court?
Why? That's a wonderful question. The fact that that's the thing coming out of that game, like that interaction between Tyrese Halliburton's father and Giannis, instead of this miraculous comeback, like really that should be the story. Like this.
But the 20 points was in the second quarter, wasn't it?
What do you mean?
When was Milwaukee up by 20?
They were. It was in the second. I mean, they were up 7 with 35, 37 seconds to go. Like that's a done deal. Like that should be the game. We're not even mentioning that. That is not even in the first sentence.
I think that's irrelevant. That's why, because we have to get to something more important.
I guess. Is it more important than when this father like decided to just berate one of the best basketball players in the world?
Well, yeah, okay. That Amber, do we want to get into that, or should we get to what the most important stuff is?
I'd say the most important stuff. I don't.
Okay, so
it's just I mean, we go back to Jaws dad, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
It's
so
like,
one more frivolous thing. When Johnson was breaking it up, so I've watched replay the angle I have. Initially, Bobby's going kind of like this, and then he does go around. Do you think, Umar, Bobby wanted that smoke, or do you think Bobby was like,
No.
Okay.
Look, the stories of James Johnson precede him, all right? Like, we know you don't want to fight a 6'8" black belt.
Is this the end of the Giannis era in Milwaukee? Amber, you go first, because Umar and I kind of talked about this last time.
I hope so. I hope he just pulls the trigger and just, calls it in and just gets it done.
How much will it anger you when Giannis says, I want to go to the Knicks, but the Knicks say, we can't trade for you because we gave away all our first-round picks for Bridges and Cat?
I'm fine with that, actually.
What?
What?
That is shocking.
Okay.
I can't believe that. Wow.
It would have been...
I mean, look. They waited so long and had so many blue balls with all their picks and not doing anything and just like
blue balls,
just chilling and just not doing anything.
But
nobody was gonna come. They tried in 2019 with Durant and Kyrie, it got denied. All this other stuff. LeBron back in 2010. All this sort of hype and hope. Good. Let's just keep it going.
Umar Ali.
He's gonna go to the Nets, though, isn't he?
Yeah. Okay, but Umar Ali, can I ask you this? Jalen Green, Schengen, and picks for Giannis.
If I'm the Bucks?
Yeah.
I mean, can you get a better package? You're getting essentially you're getting a team. You're getting 2 lottery
You're getting an
picks.
all-star.
An all-star?
And you're getting Jalen Green, who some people think is a superstar.
I mean, he's more than likely, let's be real, he's probably going to make an all-star team himself. Like he is. Like I
think he'll be Bradley Beal if he's lucky.
Sure. But if you're the Bucks, if you're telling me I can get that Schengen and I get like a boatload of picks on top of that, come on.
If I'm Houston, I'd do that. If I can keep Amen and I can keep kind of enough veterans, I know I can compete.
See, I don't think they're going to offer Alpi. I think Jalen Green's in every deal, no matter what.
I think the problem is
no one's going to make that deal.
The Bucks are going to say, "Give us Amen," and the Rockets are going to say, "Okay, take Alpi."
Oh, I'm not sure. I like their team. Then, like, what do we have? You have Giannis. Yeah, you have Giannis and Amen Thomas. Like,
no, you have Giannis, Brooks, Amen.
So this team is shooting 0 shots. Like this is the worst shooting team we've ever put together.
Well, then you have to.
I don't like that squad.
I hate that team.
I like it better than this current team. You're
essentially the Bucks. You're the Bucks with even less shooting.
No.
No one can shoot.
You're a better defensive team than the Bucks.
Sure, but you can't shoot.
Much better defensive team. What you're banking on is and all I'm saying, okay, the other option are the Nets, and you're just getting a boatload of picks.
See, if I'm Giannis, though, this is the thing. What does Giannis? If Giannis wants to win, there's no way he's going to the Nets.
How about OKC?
See, that's the most interesting team. Them.
So what I understand from OKC, they don't want to trade the picks because their ownership is so cheap that they're going to just start letting players go. So they want to keep having the opportunity of having multiple first-round picks, hoping football. That one works.
This is not
this
football.
Is how this is their plan.
So
that they want to keep the core: Chet, Jalen, Shea, and then around them, it's when the free agents become too expensive, you either trade them early, let them walk, and then you have people to replace them.
So you're telling me, would OKC not trade Jalen Williams and Chet and 1 or 2 picks for Giannis? Is that what you're saying?
They should totally do that.
I don't think they would, yeah.
That's insane.
They should totally do that. They should totally do that.
By the way, the other team that I heard, or at least, early reports, the Chicago Bulls. I thought that was an interesting one.
What the hell are the Bulls going to offer?
You would give what's that new kid that the rookie had? Buzdelis?
Yes.
Buzdelis? I
Giddy?
think it's of course.
Patrick Williams?
Come on, Patrick Williams has to be in every deal, and then whatever picks that they have remaining, which I think they have a few.
That'd be a bad trade for the Bucks.
That's a bad trade for the Bucks for sure. But that's
the Bucks have to do if Giannis says trade me. Hopefully he does it privately instead of publicly.
I think he will. Everything about him is most professional.
And I think the Bucks, and then it's just okay. Listen, give us your list, but we can't guarantee it, kind of deal. But I think with Giannis, everyone would say you can have, unless John Horst pulls a Nico Harrison and just says, I believe this wins championships. He trades him for Devin Booker, and that's it. He's like, just give me Devin Booker. I'm happy with him. But
these trades are pretty hard to put together because all the picks are concentrated, right?
Yeah. That's why there's a handful of teams who can do it, like the Houstons, OKCs, New Orleans. They're the teams, San Antonio potentially.
Wait,
San Antonio says, we'll give you our picks, we'll give you Castle, we'll give you all this.
I guess it also depends on what, the lottery, right? Because if somebody gets lucky.
That's in 2 weeks, isn't it?
Imagine if Houston got lucky and, moved way up.
Oh,
then they could easily do it. Then they could easily do it.
Right. But, okay. So we will come up with better Giannis trades as we go forward. I guess the final thing is we did have the Canadian federal election. The Liberal government won. They're going to have a minority government. Umar, you voted. Umar, do you want to say who you voted for or not?
I voted Liberal.
Okay. So I live in a Liberal safe seat, so I voted for NDP. My reason is Jagmeet said genocide on national TV. And I was like, that's good enough for me. I wasn't actually happy with the NDP campaign. I was thinking about voting for the Greens. But if I wasn't in a safe seat, I probably would have voted Liberal, not because I like them. It's just because I'd rather fight the Liberals than fight the Conservatives. It's that whole idea of fight for the enemy you want. Amber, do you care about any of this?
I like how you back-ended this now instead of leading the podcast with this.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't since I knew that Mark Carney was going to win. I haven't really paid attention.
Is it because he's one of your?
I didn't really. Was there a chance to get? Was there actually a chance to get him getting a majority or no?
Yeah, there was 3 seats short.
It was pretty close.
Oh, really?
It was very close. Yeah.
Very
okay. Close. Who is he making a coalition with?
He's going to probably need the NDP just to get legislation passed. But the NDP did lose official party status. Jagmeet Singh lost his seat he only got 18% of the vote.
He also stepped down, did he not?
But Pierre Poilievre, the conservative leader, he lost his seat.
Yeah, I heard he lost his house.
Yes.
I saw some story about the opposition gets a house.
Yeah, official opposition gets a house. He's no longer
they might do is they might do that thing where they ask someone in a safe conservative seat, you resign, let there be a by-election, and just parachute him in. I kind of disagree with the narrative that this was about Trump. I think this was more anti-Poilievre. I think there was 60% of the country, particularly NDP voters, who said, we are just not going to take the chance of this right-wing nut job and these right-wing nut job conservatives from Alberta get power again. But whatever. But Amber, you were going to say something. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Wait. Mark Carney wasn't elected, but he was named prime minister before the election. Right?
Yes.
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 Okay. Who is he making a coalition with?
Yes.
Can they do that on that other side? As the opposition?
No, he has
No.
to be official
no.
party leader has to have a seat, does he not?
No, he doesn't. Jack Layton was official party leader, and then they parachuted.
No, I mean, but like to be the official opposition. though.
Yeah. Or no, what you can do is you can get them into the Senate. I think you can get them into the Senate, and then if they're in the Senate, they can hold the position. I'm not sure, because I know that's what they did with David Cameron in the UK. When Rishi Sunak named him foreign minister, they made him a lord.
All right.
And then by making him a lord, and I remember when Layton was elected NDP leader, he didn't have a seat.
But he wasn't the official opposition, so it's a little bit different.
Well, no, but like Carney was prime minister without a seat.
Yeah,
so if the prime minister can be the prime minister without a seat, they're not going to be like, "Well, we're sorry."
Point.
The official
fair
opposite,
point.
like it's the wonderful. It's great to have like a system from feudalism that you use.
What was voter turnout?
About 69, 70%.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's not bad. We like it. It's not 60. I guess that's how you look at it. But so, any last thoughts? Okay, last thought. LA Clippers, Denver Clippers 66, Denver 62 with 9:20 left. Who wins this game? Who wins Game 7? Umer first.
Clippers.
Il est midi.
Ammer.
Clippers.
C'est l'heure de déjeuner.
I think the Nuggets win this game. Okay. To everyone else, keep fighting the good fight. We will let you know. It'll be easier going forward just because we're going to have one game a week and whatnot. But keep fighting the good fight and stay safe. Thank you.
C'est
Bye.
l'heure de déjeuner.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a à manger? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Why does there have to be a death hunt, Mark? Why does war even exist? Why can't we all just have a game of footy like how England beat Germany for the First World War?
I don't know how to answer that, Jeremy.